Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. My name is Dennis Shao, organizer of the group. Today, I'm thrilled to have good friend Andy Crestodina with us. Andy's Chicago-based. He's co-founder, chief marketing officer at Orbit Media. And he's going to talk about best practices for visuals in content marketing. Visuals are a key success factor in marketing, no matter the channel, search, social, or email. Veteran content pros know that visuals make the difference between good and great marketing outcomes. Andy's going to give us a practical approach for tipping the scales in your favor without writing a single word. Andy, thanks for joining us, and take it away.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so this is my 15th year as a content marketer. I have known about this group, and this is a very highly respected little gathering you guys have here. Looking at this room, I just say you're all lucky to have each other because there's a lot of deep expertise here. As someone mentioned earlier, I'm going to be giving the same presentation on Tuesday, but not to a group of pros. I think this is the skill level it's fun giving presentations because you end up talking to people of, a wide range of people with different backgrounds, but there are some legit pros here. So I'm going to try to cover just as much as I can in the time. If something is already very familiar to you, just hang in there. The topic will change shortly thereafter. But I think this is critical. I don't know that you can win without this. I think that visuals, Jerry just mentioned Instagram, absolutely a key success factor. So I will appreciate if anyone has any feedback on this, just because I'm always trying to get better. And just grateful for the opportunity. Okay. I had an idea a few years back to actually turn on the camera and do screencast recording while writing an article beginning to end. So no one's going to watch the whole thing, but I compressed it down and played it back at like super speed so that you could watch me the same way you'd watch Bob Ross, kind of a joke, but watch Bob Ross do a painting. The idea being that watching someone else do their work is an effective way to learn. So recorded the whole thing, played it back, narrated on top of me writing a high-ranking blog post, and it got a lot of good feedback. But at the very end of it, I decided to go back and break down my time, and I put a little chart at the bottom of the article, videos at the top, charts at the bottom, that shows exactly where my time went. And some of the most common feedback I get on that little piece of content is, holy cow, you spend almost as much time preparing the images as you do on the writing. Like, yes, I do. I spend a ton of time. And I ended up it's sort of strange. Our company here, I'm the co-founder. This is year 21. We do web design. Everyone calls it web design. Like the job is to make this visual thing. But in blogging, we all call it blog writing. I sort of think those are reversed. I think the key success factor in websites is in the copy, because most people don't go to websites to see how pretty they are. They go to get questions answered and decide if that possible partner is a fit. And that the key success factor in content may be the visual. Maybe we should call it, website writing and blog design. So you really can't overstate the importance. There are a million studies that show that the power of images. Humans are just very sort of biologically predisposed toward processing things visually. The so-called the pictorial superiority effect shows how visuals affect memory. There's a lot of marketing research that shows that visuals get more outsized engagement in social media. Visuals have a huge impact on the learning outcomes. When instructions include illustrations, people are just more likely to internalize that, to remember that. And so that's data. Here's one that's more of an anecdote, but I have an eye tracking tool that connects to the bottom of my screen with a magnet, that if I put someone in this chair I'm sitting in now and calibrate it for their eyes and face, then I can record their face, their voice, and the mouse cursor movement while they interact with the website, and the movement of their eyes. So I'm going to play for you now an eye tracking study of me giving a test to Ben Steinbuehler. He's a project manager here. And I thought that was the video, the audio. Let me do that again. I don't think I need to play the. So I'm telling Ben, I'm giving Ben a task. This is how tests work. I'm giving Ben a task and I'm saying, Ben, find out if this company has a tool that will let you manage 10 million HIPAA compliant records or something like that. This is like a database company. So as Ben's eyes move around, you're going to see his content preferences basically, and the real user experience on this page. So you can see the eyes moving faster than the mouse. He's browsing around looking for which page is going to be an option for him. He concludes probably this page, healthcare. He clicks around. He finds his way to interact. And so if you haven't seen an eye tracking study, they're fascinating, right? Like that gray blob is literally where his eyes are moving. Finds some text, chooses not to read the text, scrolls down, finds an image, and within just a few minutes, far less actually, he concludes that this is actually, potentially the answer was yes, the task we gave him, would this work for that? And he learns, he converts, he concludes, right, that this is a fit. He's explaining now what he learned. How did he get it? Simple navigation label and a visual. So this is, it's just fascinating to imagine while you're creating anything, just where the visitor's eyes will move, keeping in mind that visuals are just super powerful formats. So that's something that we'll see a lot. This visual is the opposite. That's a very boring, unengaging format. This is a stock photo. So I make the case kind of against stock photos, especially this one. Why do people do that? What's the idea? How does anyone think that that adds any value? Things like this, like the ambiguously ethnic group of business people. I think we can do a better job and choose images that have a little more impact, something that makes an impression, something that gets the visitor's attention, like Elmo doing a body slam. Let's choose some better pictures. But I'm going to go through you now. My takeaways for using visuals in all different places, starting with articles themselves. So this is about engagement on content. This is about articles. So here's an example of a typical piece on our site. This is another screencast video. You can see there's a picture. And as that picture goes away, I make sure there's another picture. And as that goes away, there's another picture or a video or a diagram or a thumbnail or an example. My goal for when a visitor lands on an article on our site is to make sure there is something of visual interest at every scroll depth. 12 years ago, I would have told you to make sure there's a good picture on every blog post. I no longer tell people to make sure there's a picture on every blog post. I tell people to make sure there's a picture at every scroll depth on every blog post, if possible, not always possible, but if possible, because at any point, if there's it's insufficient, right? At any point, if there's a scroll depth at which you're just looking at a wall of text, I'm worried I'm going to lose you. I'm worried that you're going to leave, you'll be, bored, that the site's going to lose your attention. There's one feature that all of our websites have in common, that's the back button. And whatever the traffic source was, search, social, email, wherever this visitor came from, they came from a place where there are a gazillion other choices. And I know that. So I'm trying hard to keep my visitors engaged. And that means really making sure that no matter how far down you go, I've got something for you, even if you're just scanning. I'm trying to slow down the scan reader. You can measure the before and after, or the difference between highly visual pages and pages with mostly text using a Hotjar. It's a piece of software, it's a paid tool, scroll heat map. And you can quickly see where visitors are dropping off, what percentage of visitors go down how far. So I really do think of it this way. In a desert of text, images are like water. Please give your readers a sip. I get nervous if I go too far with just text. We do a study every year we do a survey of 1,000 bloggers. And one of the questions is, how many images do you use on a typical post? About half of all bloggers add 2 to 3 images. A tiny percentage of us are adding 10 plus images per article. I once went back and counted like 10 articles and averaged it out. I think mine is like 15 to 17, literally 15 to 17 images per article. Now, granted, I've got a content strategy where these are all long form, very detailed pieces. It's really like giant, like how-to guides on a bunch of like semi-technical topics, sometimes like SEO and analytics. It's like almost technical writing in a way. But I also ask a question in this survey, do you get results from digital, right? You get no results, or disappointing results, some results, strong results. And there's a strong correlation between bloggers who use many visuals and bloggers who self-report strong results from digital marketing or from their content. So literally, so the 22% of all bloggers in our survey report strong results. But the bloggers who use tons and tons of pictures, 42% of them say that they get strong results. There's another, I'm the millionth person to conclude this. There's other websites that are skewing more toward visuals, including this one. Google is using many more visuals. I'm a collector of screenshots of Google search results pages, and I sometimes publish pieces that show side by side what search results pages look like then and now. So in 2019, if you searched for modern wedding dresses, you got a page with some pictures on it. In 2022, you search for modern wedding dresses, you get a page with like many, many more pictures on it. You used to get 12 pictures on this search results page. Now you're getting 54. Looks like a damn bridal magazine. It's insane. Like, why does Google do this? Because it improves engagement, because it keeps people on the Google property. You know, and this is true across all kinds of categories. Card tricks. That's a screenshot of what you saw if you searched for card tricks in 2013. No carousel, but still snippets, rich snippets. Nowadays, card tricks in March of 2022, was that? Yeah, these days you get a big carousel that has all kinds of stuff in it. I'll show you the progression. June 2018, you get a carousel with 3 thumbnails. June 2020, you get a carousel with 3 thumbnails and a more button. September 2020, now you get a view all button, which shows you many more if you click on it. Now they're going to stack them so they can add an unlimited number of results. So this is a vertical carousel by that same year, November, 4 images plus a little icon at the top. 2021, July 2021, what do you get now? You're crazy, right? Look at all this, 10 different pictures just in the video carousel. Google is on board, is committing, is heavily invested in extremely visual search results. In case you hadn't noticed, and this is my prediction almost every year, people ask us sometimes for predictions in January, what's going to happen in the new year. Lower traffic from search. That's my prediction. A reduced click-through rate from organic search to people's websites. Why? Because of this. Because of this. How can you compete with that, right? If you're just like a little blue link below this thing, good luck. On the other hand, this can inform a content strategy. You could call it a SERP. This is a SERP strategy. It's an aspect of SEO, deciding what kind of content to publish. If you think that, hey, the videos are having all the fun, it's time to go publish video. No, you're not going to get the visitor. The visitor is going to be on YouTube. But look, I've got 2 bites at the apple there. I'm not complaining about the reduction in click-through rates from organic search. I'm adapting by publishing content in multiple formats, specifically video. So you see this all the time. Okay, so that segues into video. How to use visuals that drive more video engagement. There's actually 3 kinds of video. There's videos that are native to the social media platform. This is my framework. You could define it different ways, but the way I usually teach it, there's 3 kinds of videos. Social media videos live on social media, and their job is to increase engagement. We'll talk about those in a minute. The content marketing videos are videos that people use to teach, to help, content like videos that support blog content, videos on a platform like YouTube. And YouTube's a great platform for that because those people are just looking for more information. But the bottom of funnel videos, the sales focused videos, the video testimonials, which we'll also mention, the About Us video, don't use YouTube for those. It's a terrible idea. If you use the YouTube player for your About Us video, someone's going to be on your About page watching cats or, I don't know, Louis C.K. or something else. You can't stop Google from suggesting videos at the end anymore. Google decided that that's critical to their UX, so they no longer allow the embed code to exclude the suggested videos. So I'm really focusing right now here on the middle section, the middle of funnel, you could say, the videos that are designed to teach and to grow an audience, the content marketing program type stuff, for which we use YouTube. Let me just, I just thought of an article or a topic I didn't mention. Ask me later and I'll share with you a step-by-step process for tracking video views using Google Analytics. And I can correlate content engagement with the use of video. I'll show you that at the end if you like. Okay, so how to increase engagement on a video? Use a picture with a face and an embedded, this is an old slide, but and an embedded headline. Because then the face draws the visitor's attention and the headline gives them a reason to click. I've got your attention and now I gave you a benefit. Every headline is basically a promise. It's telling the visitor that they're going to get something of value. So this is telling you why to click. I thought this was effective for years and then realized that I was kind of being outdone how to improve your Google rankings. I look like I'm in a basement down here. Meanwhile, Neil Patel and Brian Bean are like bright colored backgrounds. So I learned from this. My framework now would be something like, yeah, use the face, use the text, and use some color. So I'll share these slides, but this is the idea that it's simple, so it looks good when it's small. While you're designing it, if you want, take a screenshot of YouTube and like embed it and shrink it down to that size so you can tell if it's legible. Headline, they know what it's about. The face draws their attention, conveys some emotion. Color is bright and contrasting. Also, I recommend that the face is close enough that you can see it. This is I think originally some advice for soldiers fighting in the Revolutionary War. Don't shoot till you can see the whites of their eyes. Those muskets were not very accurate. But now it's a tip for videographers or photographers. The idea is that their face is close enough that you can see some emotion. It's not about the whites of their eyes. It's just that they're not like framed, the composition of the image isn't such that they're so far away. Probably relevant to Instagram, Jerry, since you mentioned that earlier. I don't know how to solve this problem. I'm open to input. It's kind of repetitive if you look at it from this view. I don't really care about this view that much though, because as you saw a minute ago, I'm trying to win a click from the Google search results page. Many of these videos rank directly in Google and get most of their traffic from Google. So this is weird, I know. I don't know what to do about it. Any and all input is welcome. But faces also draw attention. They've known this for years. Just take a picture of your next dinner party and you'll see people look at faces. That's what's going to draw the attention, which gives us the opportunity to use faces as a kind of a visual cue. So you've maybe heard this before. Ali Gardner, co-founder of Unbounce, talks about this. He calls it line of sight, but he hates the baby because it's overdone. Sorry, Ali, I'm using the baby. Baby looks at camera, you look at baby. Baby looks at headline, you look at headline. We are inherently empathetic creatures, and if we walk into a room and everyone's looking in a direction, we just automatically look in that direction. So photo and editors from magazines and newspapers have known this forever, and you will never, almost ever, see an image of a person looking off a page. They scoop your attention back into the content. So images are actually a visual cue that you can use to control the eye. And sometimes it's done in a more subtle way, the tilt of the head, the angle of the shoulders, kind of encouraging your eye to move that direction. You'll see this done by pro YouTubers everywhere. This is a common thing. You guys probably already knew this. Okay, moving on. Video visuals that drive what? Social media engagement. Social media engagement. So here I'm going to focus on my setup first. This is a quick tip and an easy one, and some of you I can tell have already addressed this. That's my laptop camera without a light. Not impressed. That's my Logitech webcam without a light. Still not very good. That is my Logitech webcam with a light. A little better. This is a pro camera connected through a cam link and a light. So much better. So I've actually upgraded my things since then. I don't use that light anymore. I've concluded that ring lights stink. I don't know what the allure is. The idea of a ring light is that it makes your eyes sparkle because the lens is in the middle and you create that kind of halo of light around your pupils. Who wants to stare at a light all day? It's miserable. So now I use a better light with a little diffuser over there. But this is not a hugely expensive setup. The camera itself was like, I think $600. There's cheaper ones now, but it's a DSLR camera that connects to your laptop through this little thing called a cam link, which costs like $50. It's a way to tell your computer that that HDMI feed is coming from a webcam, even though it's actually coming from a camera with a lens. Like, look, I'm zooming in, like this is not a fake background. It's soft focus, so much better. And the pros do this a lot. I asked 25 or so, like Andrew Davis and like Jay Baer and like these pro keynoters, like what to take pictures of their desks. I'll share that too if you're interested. I got pictures of their desks. You can see what Ann Handley's desk looks like from her point of view. So you can see all their setup, their microphone and everything. Anyway, so the idea is there that you're making a social media video that has 10x quality out of the gate. So really what I'm doing is just making a commercial. If you're serious about promoting a piece of content, make a 1-minute video commercial for it. Start with a smile. I sort of have RBF, if you know what I mean. So I have to I sit there for a second until I'm naturally smiling and then start. Introduce yourself, tell the viewer what they're doing here, summarize the point of your article, give them a seat, tell them to click if it's for them. This is, I made this for you. Here it is. You're going to learn these 3 things and then thank them for watching. Then I drop it into Camtasia, or I recorded it into Camtasia. And with a few clicks, I'm adding the captions. It's insufficient because the audio is not playing by default. So when I go to the audio track and click add captions, I do it manually. You just listen to it and then type, and listen to it, then type. So these are videos that take me, here, I'll play one for you. This is Andy from Orca Media Studios. Looks just like this. An article with you now called 27 Web Design Tips Based on Research. You get the idea. So the captions, it's a thumb stopper in the stream, right? The captions convey the value of, without the volume being on, maybe increases the chance that the volume is on. I also, if you look at the framing, the composition of my face, I'm going to use Clint Malley's tip here for the rule of the eye level, the position of the eye level. It's a good composition tip. So he puts this, he draws a line so that the idea is that your eyes are in kind of the top 2/3. It looks like this. The eyes should be right around that level. These little things make a difference. The link for these videos, because this is 10x effort, right? I can make a social media post in 2 minutes, but I'm making the social media video, which takes me about 20 minutes to make and add captions and edit and shoot a video for a 1-minute commercial. So I want to know if it's going to get results. So obviously I'm going to add campaign tracking code. We have a URL builder on our site. It's a super simple one. The medium you choose from a radio button, and it appends those codes there. It also forces lowercase so that your analytics doesn't show upper and lowercase, which is annoying. If you make that mistake once, it's going to forever be there. And then I make a social media post that's a minor masterpiece with headlines and secondary headlines and benefits and numbers and hashtags and line breaks and mentions and of the people who contributed to it. Dennis knows this about me. He's appeared in our content. I do not write articles without contributor quotes. Journalists don't write articles without adding sources. Why do content marketers keep writing articles without adding contributor quotes? Weird idea. So if you look at a typical article from us, there's expert insights and points of view as you scroll down. And by the way, faces, right? It adds visual interest at these scroll depths. So when you scroll down and you see a face like, oh, there's Dennis. I know that guy. He's that speaker. Okay, cool. There's a perspective. So it just makes the content more engaging, and it's ego bait for when the damn thing goes in social media. You've got some reason to mention someone. If you post an article and then make a social post and then hope that someone sees it, it's too late. The idea is to include people in the creation of the content, because an ally in creating content is an ally in promoting that content. I literally believe that content is not optimized for social media unless it includes multiple points of view. I'm on a mini tangent here, but let me summarize with just one strong statement. We are in a post single point of view era for content marketing. The only content marketing I know of that gets a good result when it's single point of view is strong opinion. Strong counter narrative opinion is about all that's left for the single point of view content. Look at anything that we publish, you're going to see faces in there. And by the way, that's going to lead to other good things, which I'll mention in a bit. Is this, we started at 2, right? I've got 35 minutes, not 5 minutes.
Yes, you got another 30 minutes, Andy.
Had a moment of panic. So anyway, there's the video with captions. There's the link with the campaign tracking code. So I get to see the results. Literally one social media video with a 1-minute commercial for an article, hundreds of clicks. Perfect attribution, right? There's no other link that has that exact campaign tracking code. Here's another one. Hundreds of links with several subscribers. Or more than, this was my biggest success. This is not typical, but more than a dozen subscribers, 1,200 visits from one social media post. I am, when people say like, you put way more into that than most people would, that's my model. I'm on a quest to find the 10x efforts that get 100x results. I think that's tends to be true. A lot of the things that take 10x efforts are those exact things that get the 100x results. So I don't spend 20 minutes on a single social media post because I have time. I do it because I don't have time to do things that aren't as effective. So this is, that's why I only publish one article every 2 weeks, and my articles tend to be really kind of visual and collaborative, and frequently have like original research. And they're, usually 8 to 10 hour content projects, a typical article from us. And there's that tip you maybe heard me say, or people say, the best content doesn't win, the best promoted content wins. And so visuals are an absolutely critical ingredient in content promotion. More generally, you probably knew this, there's sort of a safe area in images. There's the social networks will crop things. And so make sure that the framing of your image is such that your image is, that the subject of your image is going to be in that safe area, or else it gets cropped or cropped twice. Look at this one. Love it. Great. Thanks. Thanks, social media. I got cropped twice on this. I look like it's like the top of a very flat head. Not ideal. So keep in mind that safe image, that safe area. I generally just try to make everything that I post in social, or anything that might appear as a featured image or appear in a social snippet if it's pulled from the article, so that things are just generally sort of landscaped. There's actually a bit of research on this. What gets higher engagement, square social images or landscape or portrait? Email engagement. So Dennis, my hope is that this will be interesting enough that to you that you felt this hour was worth your time. Whenever, so what is, like I said, 15 years, the last 12 years of that was a biweekly email. I've done biweekly emails for that whole time. So I have a lot of data on the performance of all these articles that I've written over time. And I've gradually gotten better at including images, an image from the piece in the email itself. But what I'm looking at here is the subject line. What do these subject lines have in common? Pictures of desks, flow chart, 5 charts, 55 marketing diagrams, swipe file, 7 charts. These are the subject lines, and I have others, I could update this, that indicate that the content behind the click is visual. And these are the subject lines that get an above average open rate, as reported by, I'm using ActiveCampaign, my email program. So people say numbers and curiosity gap. If a subject line includes the word this, it's probably a curiosity gap subject line. The average is 22%. Image word headlines are outperforming for me. This felt like a bit of an insight. I hadn't heard anyone else report on anything like this. So feel free to make that your own or test it for you and see how well it's working. Probably it's similar to the psychology of a number. Numbers tend to indicate, except when they're a data point or a date, numbers tend to indicate to the visitor that it might be a list, when then the list is scannable and that the content can be consumed easily. That's part of what headlines do. Headlines basically do 2 things. They're making a promise, but the best promises indicate that the benefit is high and that the cost is low. So when you say, like these headlines, pictures of desks, oh, the cost is low, it's going to be visual, I can scan it. 26 top marketers take us inside. Oh, it sounds exclusive, sounds like a benefit. So I think the proper way to understand headlines and click-through rates is that the visitor, after seeing it, is doing a split-second cost-benefit calculation. And if the headline specifically makes the benefit seem high or the cost seem low, then it's more likely to get clicked. So whenever I'm writing a headline or a call to action or anything that's clickable or tappable, I'm thinking in my mind, do I have, specificity correlates with click-through rates? Am I indicating that it has a strong benefit or that it has a low cost? So my theory here, really, this is not a ton of data. My theory here is that visuals similar to numbers indicate that the content is scannable or easily consumed, and therefore the perceived cost to the visitor, it's not what they're saying in their head, but the perceived cost is lower. It's like, oh, it's just pictures, great, it's just pictures. You can imagine how that could be effective. Okay, I'm an SEO. I've been an SEO for 20 years. I'm not shy about it. It's been a channel that's worked well for me in spite of the headwinds, which I mentioned earlier. But I'm going to explain now how visuals can actually drive search optimization. So as I mentioned, if you're collaborating with other people, I make stuff and include them. I'm deliberately including other people who are content marketers and editors and bloggers and journalists, knowing that they may one day think of me if they're writing content on a certain topic. So here's how I can use images to create links from other people's websites to mine. It's called authority. Links from other websites is a key Google search ranking factor. You'll notice that if, very valuable key phrases, there aren't tiny websites that rank. Why not? Because Google is, because there's too much competition. Specifically, competition in search means that the only sites that have a chance of ranking are sites that have sufficient domain authority. If the authority of your site is far below the authority of the other sites that rank, you have no chance of ranking. That's SEO. So as soon as people realize that, they realize that links are important. And then the next question is, how can I get other sites to link to me? That's what I'm going to do now. So I collaborated with John. John works at DataBox. I've included him in a ton of articles. He's writing something that's relevant to something that I've done. He asked, would I like to contribute to a post? If I'm being a bit more cutthroat that day, I might go look up John's domain authority, the authority of his website, to estimate in advance the value of that contribution. But ultimately, I'm just going to be contributing something to John. If I want to be very strategic that day, I'll look to see which of my articles needs a link. This is very strategic approach to search. I don't do this again. I don't do this because I have time. I do this because I don't have time. And I'm going to deliberately guide authority and links to articles that need it the most. Which articles need links the most? The articles for which the search rankings are declining, or articles that almost rank high, articles right below a threshold. If you've got, and I could look them up for any of you, I'm sure many of you have these articles that ranked high on page 2. So if you've got something for which you're ranking 11, 12, 13, and you have a chance to build a link to that piece, that might be all it takes to move it from page 2 to page 1. And on that day, that page will likely get 4 times the impressions or something like that, depending on click-through rate, maybe some traffic. So I look to see which articles need the link the most. And then when John says, do you want to contribute? I say, sure, how about something on this topic? Because I'm looking for a pretext for me to build a link to that specific article. If it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't, but if it makes sense. John says, great, sounds good, buddy. So now when I send him a contribution, I'm not, SEOs grumble about editors removing links. Oh, I put a link in this article, in my, I submitted a post and they published it, but they took out my link. Yeah, but you know what people don't remove links for is legit citations, like an actual citation. That would be weird for them to do that. So in my contributions, you're respecting me to like eroding here a little bit. I'm fine with that. In my contributions to other people's content, when I have the chance to be invited, I don't miss the chance to include a visual, which I know will make their content more engaging, but also gives me a reason to add an image source link back to my actual article. And knowing that image source links are rarely likely to be removed by an editor. If you go to the anchor text report from an SEO tool and look at my site, you'll find that I have more than 100 links to my website that say image source. That's how long and how hard I've been using this tactic of image source link building. I know that it's a value to the reader. I know it's a value to the blog, and I know that it's a value to me. Kind of one of those win-win-wins. There's no downside to it. It's just a strategic approach to building links to exactly the piece that needs it, and doing it in a way that makes your contribution more useful. And by the way, wouldn't you want that anyway? Like if I asked you for a contribution for something on my site and you had included a link in it or an image in it, I'd be glad, because I want visual content too. Right? I'm trying to be non-boring here. That's the idea. Visuals also have a powerful ability to just naturally attract links from other websites. I know lots of SEO companies, link building, offsite, domain authority style SEO companies, that literally that's their model. They research a topic, they create a visual for it, and they pitch it to editors. Sometimes they're maps, sometimes they're charts and graphs, diagrams work well, infographics work well. So you go to conferences and there's a woman on stage who says, yep, we published this thing, top selling car manufacturers in every country, 92 links from other websites. Would that have happened without this visual? No, I think it's pretty obvious. Not very likely. What would it be, like a big boring list? Charts are very powerful. This is one that we published today. It's a combination of 2 surveys. We got 417 social media users to say why they follow others. Then we asked marketers why they think social media users follow others. Turns out that the reason why people follow each other on social media is not what marketers think. It'd be very hard to type out as text, right? Far easier to just show as a visual here. So it's a stark contrast, but it's only stark because literally it's colored. Diagrams communicate very quickly. Did you know your fingers are 57 pixels wide? I could type that out as text. Not going to be as strong as this visual who's making a better case. These are the kinds of things that I've literally used this and linked to this article or linked to this image from other sources. This is that anatomy of the perfect blog post. So basically the idea is just never miss the chance to visualize your data or create a diagram or build that thing into an infographic, because other people are looking to add value to their content, and it happens a million times a day. People pull an image from something else and then link back to the source. It may not be obvious, but this is 100% SEO. The process looks something like this. This was me, I think, a month ago. I'm going to do an article about the 3 types of intent. Every key phrase that you've ever searched for is one of 3 different types of key phrases based on your intent. It's no, do, or go, as in there's information intent, commercial intent, navigation intent. I could share the article from this, but here's me literally on paper, scratching my notes on, I'm going to have a little funnel triangle down here, and there's like some numbers up here, and there's these 3 types of visitors, and they're kind of like the question marks people and the $ people, and so getting closer, sketching it out, polishing it, starting over, cleaning it up, what types of key phrases, and then really cleaning it up, putting it in kind of a Photoshop tool, laying it out, typing over the top so it makes sense, and then even adding a little bit of color. Now I can hand it off to the I get it into this shape. I'm done. Now I hand it off to the designer, and it comes back like this. So am I blogging? This is my point about blogging is maybe as visual as it is, as much about, information design as it is about content writing. So this is an example of an article that we did. It's also 2,000 words about everything you ever wanted to know about visitor intent and keywords. But this is exactly how, to me, this is the job. There's a great quote from Schwartz. Is it Eli? It's I can't remember his name. He says, great copy is never written, it's assembled. I love that. Breakthrough advertising. Who wrote Breakthrough Advertising? Eugene Schwartz. Great copy is never written, it's assembled. Maybe I should add that quote to this. Also, I think I've had friends who've asked me to help with SEO, and I look at their site and I find that they have some articles on there that are basically just a big infographic, but that these are sometimes the pages that have attracted the most links. This is Melanie Dodaro, Top Dog Social Media. That URL, this thing here with this LinkedIn profile thing, was like one of the most authoritative pages on her site. Almost 100 websites had linked to that one URL. Why? Because it's a beautiful infographic with tons of information on it. But so that page has strong ranking potential. Unfortunately, it has no words. So weird idea. It's like a slingshot. First post the image to it, and if it attracts links, now the pump is primed. Now rewrite that page, go update that page to write a long form article on it, because that page already has half the battle won. It's an authoritative page. So it's not obvious. It sounds strange. I'm not talking about ranking your images in Google image search, but I think images are critical and fundamental to a lot of the things that you're trying to, outcomes you're trying to engineer from search. So I have that sort of bias towards search. You guys may know that SEO has been one of the topics I've been focused on. People, come to me for and ask us about a lot. Bottom of the funnel, let's talk about conversions, visuals that drive conversions, visuals that build trust, visuals that trigger behaviors, visuals that drive action. Everything we do to attract visitors to our websites is ineffective if your conversion rate is 0. So websites are kind of the mousetrap and the content's kind of the cheese. It doesn't matter how much traffic you drive. Anything times 0 is 0. So I spend an equal amount of time focused on maximizing my conversion rates as I do driving traffic. Really the focus of my career has been on website visitor psychology and why people do and don't do things online. So when you think about this, every message has a messenger, and the brand itself is only one of the possible messengers. So everything that you say, when you say it, you're the messenger. And when you say it as text, these are the lowest form, the least upgraded messengers and formats. So we're number 1, we love us, hooray for us. That's boring and expected. I don't know it's negative, but it's so common that the visitor is probably just going to gloss past it. But when you make the audience the messenger, now you've got a testimonial. Everything that you say, every key you type, no matter, you can't help it. Everything you make is automatically marketing, but everything that they make is automatically social proof. So that's why quotes are the most powerful key on your keyboard. You put quotes around something, suddenly it feels like, it's not the lawyer making closing arguments, it's the witness in the witness box. It's just a completely different perspective. Again, post single point of view arrow. If there aren't other perspectives on your page, whether it's a blog post or whether it's a sales page designed to create demand, you're kind of at a disadvantage. So I recommend upgrading the message to the messenger when possible. In the middle, there's the images and the third-party endorsement, like the certification, the award, the client logos, the as seen in logos, the association membership, sometimes like security certificates, things like this. It's a third-party thing. It's a visual thing. It's a powerful thing. So that's an improvement. But the ultimate upgrade, moving the messenger all the way up to the audience and moving the format all the way up to the video testimonial. Video testimonial, really hard to beat that. I think it's the most powerful thing you can put on any website, probably. It's just, it aligns with this kind of element of psychology and just how the brain works. In a visual hierarchy, and again, I could do an eye tracking study to prove it, movement is more powerful than images, and images are more powerful than text. In the very beginning of this, you saw Ben Steinbuehler see a paragraph of text and just skip it and go straight down to the diagram and scan through the diagram. It's worth 1,000 words, right? There's just a lot more information in there. So these are like laws of the visual hierarchy. What is a web page? It is a visual hierarchy that's designed to convey message and meaning. Ideally, the visual hierarchy is aligned with the messaging priority. What do web designers do? They create a visual hierarchy. If you weren't thinking about it this way, like this is the game. A web page it's a big Jedi mind trick. That's the point, is to guide the eye through this series of messages. And these are the reasons why some things are more or less prominent. Is it big? Big is more prominent than small. High on the page is more prominent than low. Contrasting color is more prominent than low contrast, right? And movement is more prominent than images, which is more prominent than text. Also white space, of course, right? Most people, designers generally know that white space is critically important. We ask our clients if they, for websites they like and don't like, most like a huge percentage, like 25% of our clients say they like Apple. Why do they like Apple? Because they like clean, if you ask them, they'll say we like clean, modern design. What does that mean? They like white space. So with that in mind, we should all be sensitive about creating, designers all know about adding white space. So unfortunately, a lot of writers didn't get the memo, and you'll still find content out there that has big blocky paragraphs. That's death on the internet. Hit the return key a little more. Almost ever can you find from me a paragraph longer than 3 lines. I don't care how many sentences, but I'm not going to write paragraphs longer than 3 lines because, again, I live in fear that the visitor will leave. And by creating that white space, I'm going to keep them flowing. I'm going to keep the scan reader on the page, and I've got a better chance of catching their attention and slowing them down farther down the page. It's like that Dan Brown book that you brought to Playa del Carmen. And when you get to the 1-page chapter, you're like, this book's great. I'm flying right through it. Same idea. Dan, nothing against Dan Brown. Is Playa del Carmen even a thing anymore? I went there so many times. I don't go anywhere anymore. I think that another way to use visuals to improve conversions is to, again, managing a visual hierarchy, to put a face, which are super powerful visual formats, near the call to action. Now I've got your attention in the place where I want your attention, which is by the call to action. Everyone like plays with button color, and there's lots of ways you can do it. But the face is actually special because it implies that getting in touch would be communicating with that person. So if I put a face near the call to action, it sort of suggests that that's the person that I may talk to. I'll give you let me tab out and find another example of one. This was a presentation. I'm going to find another slide for you. What was where to start? Yeah, I'll pull it from this. So this was this is a page that doesn't do it, but it is a contact us page that has a pretty good copyright on it. Tens of thousands of people use our product every day. We're here to help. We rewrote and redesigned this page to look like this. Get a quick demo. You're about to learn how 20,000 CPG pros manage what? 10 billion in trade spend. Share a bit about yourself. We'll be in touch within 24 hours, says Shelly, the director of pre-sales, who's worked with all these great companies. So just far, far more compelling. So yes, Specificity correlates with click-through rate, but the face shows you who you will contact if you put that. So it's sort of this maybe semi-obvious thing. Never miss a chance to be human, to be personal, to be real. Weirdly, I always meet big companies that say they want to look small, and I meet small companies that say they want to look big. Huh? That's weird. Why doesn't everyone just try to look more human? Because that's what the visitor is going to connect with. So that's why I'm a believer in this idea of putting a face near a call to action. It's doing two things. It's increasing the visual prominence of that section of the page, but it's also implicitly suggesting that that's the person that you hopefully it's not disingenuous, but that's a person who you may talk to if you contact them. I left a few minutes for questions. Dennis, I think I went a little fast, but with this group, I'm sure that was fine. Hopefully we've got just a couple minutes here to discuss.
Yeah, that was great, Andy. And I think you're too modest. I think all of us learned a lot, despite anyone's expert level. I think we all learned a lot. Could you put that slide back up real quick? Because
sure.
I forgot to mention, we are giving away 5 copies of Andy's book, and he had the book shown. So content chemistry. So I think we have time for one question, but I'm going to announce the book winners.
Great.
You need to be on. So hopefully, okay. Oh, hold on one second. I'm putting for those of you who don't know me, I'm putting my email address in the chat. So if you're one of the book winners, you can contact me and I'll arrange to get you the book. Grace, is Grace still on? Yep, great.
Hey.
Congratulations. You won a copy of Content Chemistry.
Oh, nice.
Jerry, the Instagram Jerry has won.
All right. Thank you.
Lauren R. Is Lauren R. still on? Let's see. Lauren R. is not on. The next, Dave F. Is Dave F. Yes, Dave Forsgren, you have won a copy of the book, so you can reach out to me via email. Jeff Logman, is Jeff, okay, Jeff Logman, you have won.
Neat.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the 5th winner is Andy Robinson. So congrats to all the book winners. We will get copies out to you. I guess we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions. Who's got a question? Rich.
I have a quick question. So Andy, great. Thank you. Masterclass. A lot of information here. I'm glad we'll get the slides after, sounds like. So as an SEO, a crystal ball question for you. I think you've seen the Cyrus Shepard study on Google rewriting some 60% of page titles. Do you foresee Google redoing our images because they know better?
I think it's very easy for them to rewrite titles. I don't know how they could rewrite images. I think they do a lot of strange things with images, though. You may notice that if you ever appeared as a featured snippet, that one company will be the featured snippet's text, and another company will be the featured snippet's image.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't even matter. Like, they'll just do whatever they want. It's like whatever increases engagement. I don't think that Google really knows even anymore what they're doing. I think it's just a machine that they just are letting rampage around and improve click-through rates or reduce click-through rates or increase click-through rates to ads and YouTube and whatever. But no, I don't predict anything around that, like recreating images. But I wouldn't put it past them. They're years ahead of me.
Thanks.
So I got a question about images on every screen as you scroll down. You got to be really careful or it's going to start to become cluttered looking and be contrary to having white space perhaps. But what do you think about some screen depths using big changes in typography or layout in a section? And you could even bring in a visual, the big thing in design I see these days is using CSS to slide in, headlines or slide in text or an image or whatever. And so using typography and layout on some of those screen depths instead of images.
I definitely, so this is pretty typical for me, and it's a little bit, I could argue that it's a little bit noisy. But yeah, the typography, so images are one way to add visual interest, but the point is to make the content easily scannable. It's not to add images, to make the content easily scannable. So what does that mean? Subheads, bullet list, numbered list, italics, bold, internal links, and images. That plus short paragraphs, and you've got a page. So this is a recent one, which I would love anyone's input here. Let me share it in the chat. I'm very, this is that recent article that has that new research I was mentioning that basically shows the, it's not this, everything's in my way, these graphics, but this is classic, right? Social media psychology. Why do we follow? Why do we share? It's a tiny survey, that double survey. So I'm just going to ask, why do we follow and share? I'm going to make an image that shows the follow and share with arrows pointing, asking those questions. So I guess at this scroll depth, there's really nothing, but there are no images, but there's a bullet list and there's a subhead. Yeah, so the point there isn't actually, thanks Todd, but the point there isn't actually just to use images everywhere. It's to make sure that the content is easily scannable, and typography is a great way to do that. So excellent point.
We have a question from Brian.
Yeah, quick question. Thank you very much, Andy. This was fabulous. Big fan of content chemistry. Learned a ton from it with the release of Google Analytics 4. Any plans to update second edition?
Yeah, I think GA, so I have a pin tab my whole life for analytics, and then I have another, now I have a second pin tab for GA4. So my learning process involves first coming here to do the analysis I need to do. And if I struggle and I can't find it, then I go back and do it in Universal. I will definitely be updating content, but I think it's a conundrum for a content marketer teaching analytics, because even though it's important, we're all told we need to do it and people have this feeling they should do it, there's still like 15 months before it's critical. So I predict that if I were to go overhaul all my content to include GA4 today, that I would reduce traffic, because I don't think people want it yet. It's a weird example of where, there's what your audience should have and what your audience wants to have. You're the marketer. What do you give them? Tough call.
Well, 15 months from now, you're going to get tons of traffic to that.
I know that's right. And search is slow. So I should be working on that now. I think this was a recent one. So my kind of half measure, I'm not super proud of this, but here's a content performance matrix. Everything is either low or high engagement, and it's either low or high traffic. So if it's high engagement, high traffic, do more of that. If it's high traffic, low engagement, add calls to action and video and so forth. So this is like a little framework. So I'm telling you how to do it. Here you go. That's exactly how to do this. And if you're in a GA4, here's how to do it in GA4.
Perfect.
So it's like, I'm not doing the whole thing in both ways, but I'm at least acknowledging it, because if you don't acknowledge it, then you'll get some negative feedback, which I've seen. Tough, very tough.
Yeah.
I love that measurement framework, by the way, Andy, that 2x2 grid up and to the right. I mean, the visual, from donkey to unicorn, this is immediately useful in my job today. So thank you.
Good. That's the link to it. It felt like a big inspiration at the time, but looking at it, it just looks kind of common sense. It's funny.
Right.
Well, common sense is so useful. Your common sense is not everybody else's common sense.
Well, also the alliteration, right? It's memorable, right?
Hey, steal it, make it your own.
No,
it's
all, full credit to you.
Larry Kim is the marketer who did the donkey unicorn thing.
Okay.
And he's mentioned in here, but everything in marketing is either a donkey or a unicorn. And I sort of talked about that. I'm always looking for things that get 100x results. There are no reports in analytics that are straight lines, right? Everything is a exponential curve. So that's why it's our job to landing page, organic traffic. This will be too slow, but yeah, I've never seen a straight line in digital. Everything is a exponential curve. And that's why it's important to think of it, to keep in mind look at that. That's why it's important to keep in mind the donkeys and unicorns idea.
Well, thanks so much, Andy. I think we're out of time. Thanks for presenting to us today. And everyone, give Andy a visit at orbitmedia.com. We're back, I think, in 2 weeks with our next meetup. So thanks everyone else for attending, and get in touch with me if you're a book winner.
And thank you, Andy Robinson and Robin Anderson. We had two people with that was funny.
I didn't even notice that. When I was like Andy and when I was in college, there was a lot of male Andys, and people called me Andi to differentiate.
Yeah,
so yeah.
We have several here. See you on LinkedIn. Connect with me anywhere. This was an honor, Dennis. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
So fun to
Good
teach.
job.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you all. Okay.
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.